Hi, this is Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. I want to start a conversation. It is only the opening shot, but I know I'm not the only one, and it needs to be discussed. Many of these Ascension symptoms lead us to a physician's office, and obviously a physician doesn't have anything that you need, really, because what a physician is doing on an allopathic level is it is a basic tit for tat energetic. It is you're talking about a chemical reaction that is induced in your body due to the pharmaceuticals that you ingest, either intravenously or what have you. And these chemicals then create a reaction within your body, which can be very helpful in balancing out the imbalance that has created the illness. And I got nothing against it. I'm not telling you to abandon your doctor. I do not give medical advice. You know why? I'm just a nurse. A. B. I say that because I do still carry my registered nurse license, and I would like to keep it that way. I do not practice medicine. No. So, the third is to say that there is a new science of life here, and it is practiced by those who understand that the body can be healed not only with simple, chemical balancing. And indeed, that is a rather crude and ineffective way of handling something that is more complicated. So I want to discuss vagal nerve stimulation. It's a big deal. I want you guys to read my writing about this. I have experienced this profoundly. I need to talk to you about it. First time it happened, I was not awakened. I wasn't going through any of this. My son was sleeping, and suddenly something wasn't right. Suddenly I was feeling spinny, and like everything was going gray, and I was going to pass out. And I wasn't nauseated. No, I had no real physical pain, no backache, no pressure, no chest pressure. So check, okay. No sense of doom. There was a sense of, oh boy, this isn't right. My heart's not working, what's wrong? But the first time I had to take to the floor. I had my phone with me, and I called 911. And I let them know I'm passing out. The only reason I'm calling you is because this is sustained. I can't seem to shake it, and my son is sleeping in the next room, and I would really prefer not to have him wake up and find mommy dead on the floor. Come help me. Yeah. And I somehow crawled to the door, knowing that I had roughly 5 minutes to get to the place where I could open that door, where they were going to tear it down. And I didn't want Sam to have to witness that. So I don't remember the crawl, I don't, but I do remember being able to pull myself up by the doorknob, stand up, and I began to feel better. They got there, and boy, were they pissed. They told me I didn't have to go to the hospital. I was perfectly fine. And if they could have charged me, they would have. And if they could have jailed me, they probably would have. Because I apparently looked okay. That was the first shot. Second time? Gosh. Yeah, I know what it was. I was in my bed, I think. And it wasn't induced by anything, it just happened. Same feeling, though. This really swimmy gray feeling, and just, I'm going away. I thought, oh, there's something going on with my heart. and I felt my pulse. I had enough sense to feel my pulse, and it was in the 30s. The heart rate is normally in the 80s. At one time I was tachycardic and I was running in the hundreds, but I was pretty solid in the 80s, and there it was, barely beating. Again, no nausea, but flop sweat. And no crushing no crushing pain, no back pain, no real sense of doom, just wow, this is intense. I recovered, I think. At one point, though, I did have an experience that led me to an urgent care, and I told them what had been going on, and the nurse tried to cover her alarm, but she was an old nurse. She told me straight up, you understand you're going to be at St. Joe's now. They're going to take you. And you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Okay, so 23-hour obs, diagnostics that were second to none. Thank you, St. Joe's, including a treadmill. And my heart was fine. No problem. And yet I was passing out, and my heart was slowing. It was scary. So I went to my doctor, who was actually a healer, very profound and a very, very good diagnostician. And he provided me, luckily, the truth. He said, this is vagal. Something's going on that's vagal. So I want you to take these pills. Get on this tit. It's only $60 a month. Your insurance covers it. And it was for GERD, because he says sometimes this symptom can stimulate the vagal nerve. Yeah. Well, thank you, doctor. You just gave me a piece of the puzzle. So what he did, he said, there's no treatment. If it gets to be too much of a pain, you can get a pacer, but even that is not the treatment of choice. It's best to just, learn to adjust. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Thank God. And I learned to adjust all right. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. My heart was opening, baby. The vagal nerve is this very, very long and thick nerve that runs from your anus all the way up. It's a highway. And it is connected with the heart. And what was happening was it was getting stimulated. And I was having heart openings. It is the same experience I had when I had my NDE. And it's only with the permission of my team that I call it that. But I was dead. I was gone. It was sustained. I did not have a heartbeat. Twice. I can guarantee you. Now, I know the medical community is saying, well, dear, that's not possible. You can't get anyone back unless you shock them and give them drugs. No. But, yeah. Even last year. These were later, I told him finally, because I was on the toilet one time. And I'm a full-on channel on the pot. Of course I am, being as irreverent as I am. But yeah, they come through loud and clear. Anytime there's water around, I think. Showers are magnificent for rituals and all kinds of sparklies. But yeah, I vaguely remember realizing, oh, here it goes, here it comes again. And I found myself with my body kind of smushed into the corner of the bathroom, having passed out. So, and then it would be induced and then finally it became more refined. And it would only be induced if I was having a really big hit of God. I'd read an essay, and halfway through it would get induced. This happened one time, and my son was home. And I apologize on camera for this, but I'm going to tell about it, Sam, because it's embarrassing, and I like doing that. By this time, I had gone through several of these. I knew how to manage. I talked to them and said, listen, no more, no more. After the thing with Sam, I told him no more. Will you let me lose consciousness? This is not, I gotta stay awake for this stuff. No more. I was reading an essay that I just written, and that soothed me, and it propelled me in this case. The same sensation I had as I was reading my words after the event that occurred at the casino, which induced the NDE. It happened again, reading an essay. I was overwhelmed, physically, not emotionally necessarily, or intellectually, just physically, with this huge sensation. And Sam was in the room. And when it happens, all I can do is just go. And I plopped onto the bed. Now, there are two accounts to what happened that night. Sam said that I did that. Then I grabbed one of my breasts, and I kept shaking it. And I was staring into him, into his eyes, I guess. And I alluded to it in Ascension Part 1. I apologized to him and apologized if I scared him, because I saw the same thing when I looked in the mirror. It is spooky. It's it's the great central sun. I am absolutely convinced, or farther. What he saw was me doing this and grabbing my breast and staring at him. And all I could hear through that was, stop staring into my soul! And he was so scared, so distressed. And I appreciated that he ran away, but then I realized that he was there, and he kept saying that. He said, stop, something about my hand, stop, he said, move your hand away. And he said he couldn't escape my eyes. Everywhere he went, my eyes were there, and he said they had turned into shark eyes. They were black, night. And he was so freaked. Stop staring into my soul. So, that's his account, alright? Here's my account. I said, oh my gosh, Sam, what are you talking about? You kept talking about my hands. So, this is what I did. I said, Sam, see? Here's one arm. Here's my other arm. Fine. Like that. What I intuited immediately was that was a passing of the mental. That was like what was between Elijah and Elisha. Kept coming over and over. I haven't really shaken that. That's how it feels. There was a physical conference of data and purpose and lots of things that went on. But I was gone. I was in a different reality completely. And I was so utterly convinced I was fine. And I couldn't figure out why he was acting so weird. It's just another day at paradise, guy. Yeah. It was after that I said, listen, we're going to have some agreements here. I don't go away for these anymore. You will never give me so much that I pass out ever again. Nope. Draw the line. I know I'm hungry, but that's enough of that nonsense. I haven't passed out into unconsciousness since. And the vagal simulations have quieted. I did experience one just recently, induced by a reality. It was simply just glimpsing into a reality and feeling it so intently and intensely, considering doing something that some reason it was just, yeah. I had an intense flashback, and there was a lot that went on. In any case, I got real sick. Now, these are always followed by violent emptying of my stomach. I vomit and I vomit and I vomit. And then I feel pretty good. I mean, I'm tired, of course, but I'm okay. I'm convinced these are vagal nerve activations, and they are physical in nature, obviously. Do you notice I didn't report having one of these when I was driving? I didn't report having them anywhere where there wasn't someplace safe and soft. I knew I was protected. It took me a while to put everything together. So, I was very pleased that I was not offered any comfort by the allopathic community, because I was frightened enough I probably would have taken him up on it. At least a year before I would have. But by then I realized that whatever I would take into my body to regulate it would actually be slowing down the process. It would be hampering a very natural and normal thing. Clearly my body knew what it was doing. It was never putting me into a place where I was going to die. Oh, and if I did die, I came back. So, no harm, no foul. I got to go see my family and spin with galaxies. So, to me, that was kind of a reward for having had a bizarre experience. So, vagal nerve stimulation is a big deal. I have not seen literature in our community's blogosphere about this. I have not encountered a physician who is appreciative of these changes, and that's why, for me, I would prefer not to present myself to allopathy, because I believe they lack a sense of depth. I think they see the body's automaton as a self-regulating machine which malfunctions, requiring a mechanic. It's always the impression, especially in orthopedic endeavors, where human beings are really very effectively treated by submitting themselves to a basically, in my opinion, a factory kind of setting where you go down the treadmill or thingy and get your treatment, and you're one thing when you start and you're another thing when you get done. And I'll tell you what, I think that's great, especially if you're energetically ready, but you just lack the interest in healing an orthopedic problem. The issue with what I intuitively understand is that orthopedics are the hardest thing to. They're pretty easy to decode, but they're hard to sustain health while the body heals. Bone growth is slow. The osteophytes are on fire, and they're very eager to be set correctly. So I'm not convinced that orthopedic injuries can't be healed quickly because there is that osteophytic growth. But the growth has to be managed and tended to and told what to do, because I think that it's much like a cancerous growth. It's sort of happy cells that would like to do something, but they need to hit direction. But when we're talking about bones, the orthopedic issues, we're talking about structure. We're talking about identity. Most of my physical issues have been orthopedic, structural. So that makes sense. Vagal nerve stimulation, I think, is something that really deserves some profound research, which would include not only, yes, very well done medical, assessment and diagnostics, sure, a very, very thorough family history, and then listening of the symptoms, and then treatment. But there's an understanding that the medical community cannot touch this particular problem. Isn't that funny? Just how they really can't get at pregnancy. They try. Ooh, they try. They regulate it. They make sure that it's on their time, not the baby's, not yours. And if the baby comes at a different time than what they've predicted, then somehow you or the baby did it wrong. You get to start out that way. So, yeah, it's to me anymore. It's more and more bizarre. It's more like a fun house all the time looking at it. So, this is an open invitation to a physician who hears me and is curious, because all of these, I made sure that every single one was documented. Accompanying it are the sparklies, because, and to close, this is what I understood, finally. It went from being this random thing that felt like the end of the world, and that I was really under threat, that my body had decided to stand against me, to something else. Want some truth-telling? I've come to understand that for a number of reasons, which I choose not to go into right now, I understand that May 25, 2012 was actually a date that was on me for expiration. Now, I know, looking back on it now, that may seem dramatic. Not really. By that time, we were okay. We were going to be okay. May of 2012. I mean, we were ramping up to the 12-12, right? But clearly, there was enough momentum at that time. They could have done it without Grandma for a while. I was custom built for this role, and this is my job, and there can be no other time for her. This is her time. And I don't have a name for the other energy. But there are a lot of people exiting. I'm sure you've noticed. And it's not just the last 4 months. It's been going on. An acceleration of people leaving. Why is that? Why is that, do you think? What would, why would we be dying when it's finally getting easier around here? When finally this information is available. Wow, that's when they decide to go? God, it's like you're missing the big show, the big reveal. Why are you going? Besides, you didn't want to walk with me then, but now you want to die on me? Oh, come on. You're going to get this. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Yeah, well, part of it is that some of the people who hold a great amount of light have been doing it a tremendously long time. And they're tired. It's just, it was hard. And you can take our word for it. You don't have to believe me. I have some people say, why do you bitch? Why do you complain? When I was in my complaining mode. You had an easy life. Jeez Louise. Look at you. Yeah. Yeah. Dear one, I'm a representative of a, I've been around a while. And a person gets tired. It's just as simple as that. A person gets tired. But it goes far deeper than that. I'm blessed to know who is going to be with me in small part the next lifetime. I have very, very, very clear intention for next lifetime, and I know where I want it to be. I only want the timing to be right. That's all. That's all I care about. Everyone's going to be fine here. And we're great. We're golden. This is all practice now. But I got to be on time for that one. I'm going to be doing some work that is it's just real important. I'm looking forward to it. But I keep getting the sense it's going to be a while. It'll be at my choice and my decision when I leave. By that time, I may already have been able to embody and disembody, who knows. But I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing. I can hardly wait. Oh, God, I can hardly wait. But these can drive you to answers that cannot be found in the medical community. And unfortunately, at this point, there just aren't enough scientists who are resonating with this work. There are a few. Dr. Todd, Dr. Boron, Mr. Boron. There are a lot of people who are practicing. But believe it or not, they're not practicing here. And do you know why? You want to remind yourself what the medical community and the legislative community did with weed? Something they've actually patented because they know how effective it is. They already own it. And they have been just stingy with supply to make sure that old consciousness keeps on going. We're going to talk about weed and alcohol later. I'm exhausted. But if you're having any kind of vagal nerve stimulation and you're curious about what to do, I urge you to look at my blogs and read what happened to me. I really also urge you to go to a doctor. Because, those 3 spiral notebooks right there, those 3, those contain, half of the information on decoding. The theory is pregnant with exploration and multiple studies which will lead to confirmation. But for right now, it's certainly not simple. But it's also not exhaustive, and it has a certain rigidity to it, a certain love of labeling that's almost obsessive. I am certain it's all extremely purposeful and appropriate. I'm not saying it isn't, but it still has smacks of a linear field, without right or wrong, without any of those things, but still, good Lord, it's a lot of information. Baby, I'm just complaining. There's a lot of information. And I'm a lazy student. Maybe that's it. More than likely. But I hope that this has helped you with vagal nerve stimulation. I don't really have any answers. I would say it's important to look at the synchronicity of it, the meaning of it. Meaning. Context is king. You gotta know what the context is. And I think it's best, though, for us to remember that we are the ones who are, every single person, not just we are the ones, every single person generates their body from their Merkaba, from their light fields, from their DNA. It's like a natural emanation of your DNA. As your DNA changes, what would make you think that your body wouldn't? I mean, really. Doesn't that imply that you feel the body, the mind, the spirit are completely disconnected from each other? To some degree they are. And I think that's what the purpose behind pendulums, energetic medicine, such as Mr. Boron's work, things like that. They're quantum, and so they can help for quantum problems. The hockey player plays with the hockey player. the chess player plays with the chess player. So it really depends on where your agreement fields are. But in this instance, it's very important to realize that once you've been checked out and you do not have some horrible illness for which you have to take medicine and feel fear daily for the rest of your life, waiting for that other shoe to drop, waiting for that ticking time bomb in your chest to take you away to Grandma. No, it's not quite like that. I know that I was to have died on May 25th. It just was, I changed that, didn't I? I think some of us do have a date, and that's the thing. You have to agree to it. You can plan it. It's fine. It's nice. Plan it prior to your life. Plan it the day before the event. But at this point, the idea is to ascend. And I think at this point, it's easiest to think of that as DNA activation. With DNA activation, you don't really have to think a whole lot about some of the other stuff. But I think that's only because we don't know a whole lot more about it. Vagal nerve stimulation is a big deal. I've only touched on it. There's so much more where that comes from. So if you find that you cannot be helped by the medical community, or you can, either way, have them do what they do. Boron won't look at anybody unless they've already been to a physician and he sees the reports. It's important to have that documentation and to prove that there is a problem, it does exist, and is borne out in clinical evidence, such as diagnostics, numbers. If that's the case, then awesome. Then you give that to Boron, and Boron does the numerology or whatever the heck he does, and gets to a different place. Well, I'm very altered. And if it weren't for the lateness of the hour, I think that I would do a channel. In fact, I think I'm going to do one just for fun. But I have a feeling I'm going to fall asleep while I do it. So I'm going to do a medical experiment. I'm going to channel tired like this. Unconvinced it's due to the lateness of the hour, to be honest with you. So let's see what happens, shall we?